How's it going, everyone? This is Javita, and this is going to be a video comparing all the Slingbow variations in the new 167 release. Before we get too much further, I want to give a quick shout out to Curran Samar for suggesting the topic of this video. I really appreciate the interest, and it gives me a huge boost of motivation to know I'm making something that people want to watch. Before we get down to business, I'd like to attach a couple of disclaimers. First off, this is the first round of Slingbow variations, and as I mentioned in my grapple video, all of this is subject to change. Second, I'll be listing numerous numbers relating to damage, critical damage, and percent bonuses. However, there's a bit of goofery going on with the displayed numbers, so don't get too hung up on them. My guess is that this is related to the new prediction system that basically when you fire a Slingbow, it predicts on the client side where that's going to hit, which allows for a much smoother combat experience even with higher latencies. So really cool stuff. A quick explanation of my methods. If you're familiar with my grapple video, you know I have a tendency to go way deep into the details. The main thing you need to know is on the stats, the S stands for skills. So the S damage and the S critical damage, that is the damage with full mastery. The regular old damage and critical damage, that is with no mastery whatsoever. Also, the gem bows now have elemental effects, however these are not fully implemented into the game and are cosmetic only for now. Getting down to business, first off we have the stone Slingbow. This is the most basic bow in the game. It has the shortest maximum range of 10 meters. It does 300 unskilled damage, gaining 23% extra damage from mastery, and is capable of critical strikes that do 9% extra damage. It is important to note that maximum mastery bonus can be attained prior to completing the mastery line, depending on the bow. In other words, a stone Slingbow may require one node in the mastery line, whereas, say, a gem bow might require the entire line to max out the damage. Strangely enough, the copper bow is not exactly what you might think. It's a bit of a catch-22. It has a nice upgraded range of 15 meters, however it does the same amount of damage as the stone Slingbow. The catch is that it only does the same amount of damage if you have the mastery to support it. If you have 0 points in mastery, it will actually do less damage than the stone Slingbow at a pathetic 270 damage, making it the weakest Slingbow in the game. However, one could argue that the increased range could make it worth it, not to mention it would take minimal mastery points to alleviate this problem. If you are avoiding seeking points in the bow mastery line and you want to increase in damage, then the iron Slingbow is practically your only option. It has a range of 20 meters and a unskilled damage of 400. Since it's a higher tier of weapon, it gains an even higher bonus from mastery at 38%, boosting its normal strike to 650 damage. Iron Slingbow also enjoys 17% extra damage from critical strikes, which is almost double the baseline of 9%. Moving on to the precious metals, we have silver. Silver bows have an increased range of 25 meters. It has a lower unskilled damage than iron, so it's time to either settle on iron or invest in mastery. With the appropriate mastery, it does identical damage to iron. Sadly, it gains less damage from critical strikes than its predecessor. The main advantages to this bow is its increased range, and it is also the first to take advantage of the fire mode skills. If you have the rapid fire skill, then this bow will continuously fire as long as the button is held. The rate of fire leaves a bit to be desired, but this is likely to be increased by the new dexterity stat, which decreases swing and block placement time. Naturally, we have gold next. This Slingbow holds a fairly interesting sweet spot between price versus performance. It has a range of 25 meters and takes advantage of the second fire mode skill, which allows you to charge the attack for extra damage. Even with appropriate mastery, this bow barely does better than its predecessor. However, where this bow truly shines is its 43% extra damage from critical strikes. That, combined with a charged attack, makes this bow capable of doing just over 1700 damage, one-shotting most creatures in the game. Sadly, charged attacks pull back much slower than previously. This, however, may be again alleviated by dexterity. For an increased price, titanium is an excellent upgrade from its predecessors and is the best choice if gems are not available. This update also makes this option more affordable by reducing the cost of titanium from both gold and silver alloy to just one or the other. It takes the strength of both gold and silver bows and tacks on more damage. It takes advantage of the charge ability and has a high crit multiplier of 29%. While this multiplier is lower than the gold Slingbows, its higher base damage ensures that it consistently outperforms the gold bow. The first of the gem bows sit in a rather interesting position. The emerald bow has a decreased range of 15 meters, however it has a respectable skill damage of 1182 and takes advantage of the charge skill. It does suffer the minimal critical multiplier of 9%, however. The shining quality of this bow is that it has the highest charge multiplier in the game. Given its respectable damage, short range, and high charge bonus, this bow strikes me as the perfect shotgun candidate. The devs have mentioned plans for adding modifications to weapons so that they can be customized into becoming virtual shotguns or snipers. And that's not all. If you act now, we'll throw in fully automatics. Oh wait, they already did that. Right. Awkward. Following its grapple counterpart, the Topaz Slingbow will likely make you feel as though you've been robbed. It has lower skill damage, suffers from the minimum crit multiplier at 9%, and unlike its grapple counterpart, has very little redeeming qualities. It does take advantage of the rapid fire skill and was likely intended to be one of the fastest firing bows. However, currently all bows seem to share the same fire rate. Potential sources of redemption other than its fire rate could be its elemental effect, which may very well be a stun effect given that it is lightning based. I must say, however, that anything past gold or silver feels more or less overpowered given the current targets in the game. But this also comes from somebody that used iron bows exclusively prior to this update, so needing 2 to 3 shots to kill something feels normal to me, at least. Sadly, the Ruby bow does not mirror the awesomeness of its grapple counterpart. It has marginally better damage than the Topaz bow and takes advantage of the charged skill. It has an elevated crit multiplier of 23%, but it has the lowest charge multiplier in the game at 28%. All of this prevents its fully charged critical strikes from reaching much over 1400, and its normal attacks fail to break 800. Next up, the Amethyst bow is possibly my favorite Slingbow in the game. The Amethyst once again tries to walk the middle road. It has an interesting range of 26 instead of the normal 25. It enjoys an elevated critical strike multiplier of 17% and hits like a dump truck. It also takes advantage of the rapid fire skill. With appropriate mastery, its normal strikes hit for 1300 with criticals at 1560. Entering the long-range bows, first we have the diamond bow. It has a staggering maximum range of 14 meters, the second highest crit multiplier, and a skilled damage biting at the heels of the Amethyst bow. This bow feels like an Amethyst bow gone sniper. However, its utilization of rapid fire skills somewhat clashes with this persona. The true sniper experience is conquered by the Sapphire bow. It has the same range of 40 meters as the diamond and a massive skill damage of 1445. Furthermore, this bow takes advantage of the charge skill, giving it the highest potential damage at 2360 on a charged critical strike. I must say, after all things considering, the Amethyst, Sapphire, and Diamond all tie in my book for favorite. Even with non-charged critical strikes, the Sapphire bow one-shots nearly everything thrown in its way. However, Sapphire's limited available would probably deter me from using it. Sadly, the Amethyst bow is in a very similar position, so if I had to pick a favorite, I guess the Diamond wins out based on Diamond's increased availability. That pretty well covers the Slingbow overview. A couple of things I unfortunately did not have time to test were the effects of power on the bow's damage. I was short on skills, not to mention I wanted to get a good baseline behavior of mastery versus no mastery. Another thing I wanted to test was critical strike chance. However, considering the goofery of displayed damage, I finally decided it was not worth the time investment for now. At some point soon, I hope to do a very similar test video with all the tools, particularly concerning durability. I already have all types of hammers crafted, so I'm more or less waiting on skills. Nibuls on the Boundless Forums already has a post detailing some of this information, complete with video clips of each hammer's performance, most notable of which are the Diamond, Amethyst, and Emerald hammers that mine multiple blocks at the same time. I'll throw a link in the description if you want to check it out. Anyway, this was Javita. Thanks for watching. As always, if you liked the video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more like it, and if there's anything you didn't like, please let me know down in the comments. Until next time, peace.